Hey everyone, it's me Daniela, or you can call me Casa, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or hello there if you are new. In today's video, I'm going to be trying out the new ibispaint animation feature, and if you're curious about that, or you just want to learn how to use that new feature, then this video is probably for you. This video is divided into lots of parts, so I would leave timestamps in the description and as a pinned comment in case you want to skip to any part. So I did a poll on YouTube to know what you guys would like to see me animate with the new ibispaint animation feature, and you all said that you wanted to see me animate an expression change, only for me to come back days later and see that you all had now chosen a pose change animation. But by then I had already filmed footage for this video and I had already completed the expression change animation, so I couldn't really make the pose change animation, but I will try my best to make a pose change animation of one of my OCs in the future, so do stick around for that. Anyway, for this video, I am going to be animating an expression change for my OC Wennie. The first step in this very long process is project setup. ibispaint offers you a couple of animation ratios, which include the 640 by 640 square canvas, the 192 by 192 square canvas, the 480 by 640 square canvas, and the 192 by 256 square canvas. So depending on which of these you pick, it would be affecting your animation quality, and if you want more quality animation, I would advise you invest on Flip Clip Premium, because that has a lot of better animation ratios that will make your animation more quality. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using the free one, which is 640 by 640 to make the animation, and I know it's going to pretty much work. The next thing you want to do is to select your frames per second. What this basically is the amount of drawing you have per second. Professionals like to do 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second, but what I like to do is either 10 frames per second or 12 frames per second, but I felt like doing 12 frames per second for this particular animation. What I do next is to turn on my stabilizer tool just so my lines look less shaky and more fluid. So for this particular animation, I'm using the deep pen hard and the symmetry tool just so the whole process is a lot more easier and faster. Okay, the next step is character design. So what this basically is about is that you draw your character and just flesh out what you want them to be like for that particular animation. This is also the part of the process where you make your character turnarounds, your character sheets, and everything you need to make your animation process just a lot more easier for you. For this illustration, I'm just animating an expression change for my OC Wennie, so I didn't need all of that. I just needed a reference of her, which I have in the reference window right now, and that was the most recent illustration I had of her when I was animating this, but now I have an updated illustration for her. I'll put that up on the screen so you all can see her. So yes, if you want to animate your own OC, you just need a reference of them if it's just a simple animation, but if you want to go out and make a series or animated short, you might need the whole turnaround expression sheet and all that good stuff. After I have my character sketch ready, the next thing I have to do is to clean her up. This part of the process is really important, and I find that it takes the most time because you want to make sure your lines look really nice, really clean, because any mistake you make right now would be with you throughout the whole animation. So you want to try your possible best to make sure it looks really nice. I know this may sound a little bit daunting and you might want to go out and be a perfectionist about all of this, but do know that it's all about having fun. It's okay for there to be a little bit of mistakes. That only makes the animation look more natural, but then still try to make it look good. Okay, time for a quick rundown of the interface. So the interface is basically the same as the interface you get when you want to work on an illustration. Each frame gets its own layers, and if you add a new frame, you have a new set of layers to work with. Unlike other animation programs that you get one frame and it's one layer, the next layer is another frame, but this one, each frame has its own new set of layers. So this is me just trying to show you all how to animate it. Also, if you flip the canvas on one frame, it doesn't make the canvas on the next frame flipped. That is just the touch that I noticed. If you flip for a frame, it doesn't make the other frame flipped. If you click on the three dots down there, you get a couple of options like animation settings. In here you can change your frames per second, add your onion skin, and choose how you want your playback to be. You can set it to loop, you can set it to play once, and you can set it to repeat. This is just me playing around with it to kind of figure out the difference. So for your onion skin, once it's at none, it means you don't have onion skin. But when you set it to both, you can see the past frames and the future frames. So this is me just testing it out. The green one is the frame after. The green one is the frame before. Sorry, the green one is the frame after, and the red one is the frame before. So this is past and future. The red is for the past, the green is for the future frame. So you can also change how your onion skin works. You can set it to both, and that makes you see the past and future frame. And once you set it to just past, it lets you see your past frame only. And when you set it to future, it lets you see your future frame only. So this is useful for in between, because when you have your onion skin, you're able to tell where your in between is going to go. So for you to see both the past and future onion skin at the same time, you have to be working on an in between frame. So what is this? Say you have a frame in front, you have a frame behind, then you have a frame at the middle, and that is the middle frame where you're going to be seeing the in between from the first frame and from the third frame. So this feature also lets you to choose the number of times you get to see an onion skin. Say you have 15 frames, it lets you choose the amount of times you get to see the reds. The reds are from the past frames, the greens are from the future frames, and all of that. You can also change the color of your onion skin, and this is me changing it to pink and purple because that is just my favorite colors. And then I changed it back to red and green just so I don't get myself confused. And this is me making a test to further illustrate some features. So hit the play and you get to play back your animation. So I hit the three dots, and the next option you have is to duplicate your frame. And when you duplicate your frame, you basically have the same frame, but it's just twice. If you click on the three dots again, you get to see delete. So once you press and hold a frame, you can be able to move it, and that means you're changing the position it is on the timeline. And this is me illustrating that again if you didn't get that the first time. Another hack is that when you tap a frame, I mean tap, not press and hold, just tap, you get a drop down menu which you could use to set the duration, duplicate the frame, or delete that particular frame. So a feature that I think is really useful is a duration feature, and this is because it lets you make a frame last longer. So instead of just duplicating a frame, you can set it to last for like 5 seconds with just a little click, and that is super useful. It makes a frame just last longer than it usually does, and that is really useful. And that brings us to the end of this section. It's time for the actual animation. This is the part we bring our character to life. It's the part you all have probably been waiting for. It's the actual reason we're so excited for this feature. So, throughout the course of the animation process, I'm going to be dropping some tips and hacks to make your animation process on ibispaint more seamless and easy to get done. So yeah, stick around for all those amazing hacks. The first step in your animation process is keyframes. You want to learn how to animate a blink and flip a clip? Then this video is probably for you. So you want to start with the main poses: when the eye is open, when it's partly opened, and when it's closed. And now you're going to add some in-betweens which I've marked out in blue. I hope that clip gives you the basic idea of what I'm trying to talk about here. So keyframes are the major frames that bear the or can convey the motion. So as in that example, which is a blink, you have the eye open and then it's partly open and then it closes. Those are the keyframes. Otherwise, you could have it as when the eye is open and when it closes. But then the in-betweens are the frames that makes the keyframe transition smoothly, if that makes any sense. My first hack is to try as much as possible to separate each feature into layers just to make animation easier. Say you want to animate a blink, if you have your eye on its own layer, you can easily erase it and worry about animating the blink alone. But if you have it on the same layer with other features, then you'll be too scared to erase the eye because you might end up erasing the hair, if you get what I mean. My next hack is to reuse frames either by duplicating or by changing the duration. Doing this just cuts down on the amount of stress you have to go through during the animation process. So my third tip is cutting or copying parts from one frame and pasting them on the next frame. So this is basically just like reusing your frames, but what this does is that you go and you copy a layer from one frame and then you take it to a layer of another frame and you paste it there. This is very useful if you have to redraw something, but then you already have that thing on another frame, so you just take it from that frame and put it back right there in the new frame. And this just cuts down on the amount of work you have to do. My fourth tip is to play back as often as possible to spot mistakes. And this is super important because playing back just lets you know what frames work and what frames do not work, so you can get rid of those frames that do not work and make your animation just look a whole lot better. This is one tip you do not want to neglect because it could affect how your animation ends up looking. We are now down to the final step, and that is to export our animation. This is the part we have all been waiting for, and it's pretty easy. Just click on the arrow and you see save animated video, and that's pretty much it. So let's get ready to watch our finished animation. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you are this far, please comment with pink flowers and let me know what you think about this video in the comments. Also, leave suggestions of future video that you want to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a blessed day. Bye!